In the history of criminal law, there is a fundamental rule that has stood for centuries. It is a rule that frustrates prosecutors, breaks the hearts of families, and protects the guilty. The rule is simple: a murder victim cannot testify. When a homicide trial begins, the most important person in the room is missing. The person who saw the killer's eyes, the person who felt the pain, the person who knows exactly what happened in those final, terrifying moments. They are gone. They are a photo on a screen. They are a silhouette in a chalk outline. They are silent. Because they cannot speak, the killer gets to tell the story. The killer gets to say it was an accident. It was self-defense. She slipped. She started it. And the victim, lying in the cold earth, cannot object. But what if the rules changed? What if a victim refused to be silent? What if a woman was killed, brutally, savagely executed by fire, but through sheer force of will, she refused to let her soul leave her body until she had pointed a finger at the man who did it? Imagine a courtroom. The lights go dim. The jury looks at a screen. And on that screen, they don't see a security camera video. They don't see a police interrogation. They see the victim. She is lying in a hospital bed. She has no ears. She has no fingers. She has no hair. She is covered in bandages. She is in agonizing pain. She is technically dying. But her voice is clear. Her mind is sharp. And she is looking into the camera, looking directly at the jury and directly at her killer and saying, "He did this to me, and he meant to do it." This is the story of Judy Malinowski. It is the story of the only woman in American history to testify at her own murder trial. It is a story of a love that turned toxic, a moment of unimaginable cruelty behind a gas station, and a battle for justice that defied the boundaries of life and death. If you believe that the truth is powerful enough to survive the fire, please hit that subscribe ** button right now. You need to hear Judy's story, because she went through hell on earth just to make sure you could hear it. To understand why Judy fought so hard for justice, we have to understand what she lost. Judy Malinowski was beautiful. She was vibrant. She was a mother to 2 young daughters. She had a smile that could light up a room in Gahanna, Ohio. She was a woman who had battled demons. She had struggled with addiction. She had survived cancer, but she was a fighter. She was turning her life around. But her weakness was her heart. She fell in love with a man named Michael Slager. To the outside world, Michael seemed okay, but behind closed doors, he was a monster. He was controlling. He was jealous. He was violent. It was the classic cycle of domestic abuse. He would hurt her, then he would apologize. He would say, "I love you, Judy. I can't live without you." And Judy, believing in the good in people, believing she could fix him, stayed. But by August 2015, the cycle was spiraling out of control. Judy knew she had to leave. She told friends she was afraid of him. She told them he was getting more aggressive. But leaving a dangerous man is the most dangerous time in a woman's life. Michael Slager sensed she was pulling away, and his possessiveness turned into a rage that would consume them both. August 2015. It was a hot summer evening. Judy and Michael were in his truck. They were arguing. It was the same old argument: jealousy, control. They pulled into a Speedway gas station in Gahanna. Judy wanted to get away from him. She got out of the truck. She threw a drink at him in frustration. It was a small act of defiance. But for Michael Slager, it was an insult he couldn't handle. The security cameras at the gas station captured what happened next. But they didn't capture sound. They showed Michael Slager reaching into the back of his truck. He grabbed a gas can, a red plastic jerry can filled with gasoline. He walked toward Judy. He didn't just threaten her. He poured the gasoline over her head. He soaked her. It ran into her eyes, her mouth, down her clothes. Judy stood there, stunned, freezing in terror, smelling the fumes that were burning her skin. Then Michael Slager walked away. He went back to his truck. He grabbed a lighter. He walked back to Judy. The camera shows them exchanging words. We will never know exactly what was said in that split second, but Judy later testified that she looked into his eyes and she saw pure evil. She saw a look that said, "If I can't have you, no one will." He flicked the lighter. The fumes ignited instantly. A ball of fire engulfed Judy Malinowski. It wasn't just a burn, it was an explosion. She became a human torch. She fell to the ground screaming. And what did Michael Slager do? Did he rush to help her? Did he try to put the fire out with his jacket? No. The camera shows him backing away. He watched her burn. Then he grabbed a fire extinguisher, not to save her immediately, but seemingly as an afterthought when he realized people were watching. But the damage was done. In those few seconds, Judy Malinowski's life as she knew it was erased. Judy was rushed to the hospital. The doctors took one look at her and shook their heads. She had 4th and 5th degree burns over 90% of her body. We usually only hear about 3rd degree burns. 4th and 5th degree means the fire burned through the skin, through the fat, through the muscle, and charred the bone. Her ears were gone. Her fingers were burned off. She lost 2 fingers on each hand. Her airway was scorched. She was in a coma for months. The doctors told her family she will not survive the night. Her mother and her 2 daughters sat by her bedside, praying for a miracle, but preparing for a funeral. But the night passed, and Judy breathed. The next day passed, and Judy breathed. She woke up from the coma months later. Imagine the horror of waking up. She couldn't move, she couldn't speak at first. When she looked in the mirror, she didn't recognize the person staring back. She was a living skeleton wrapped in gauze. The pain was constant, unimaginable. Every dressing change was torture. She had to undergo more than 50 surgeries, skin grafts, amputations. Why did she hold on? Why didn't she just let go? Because she found out what Michael Slager was saying. Michael Slager was in jail, charged with aggravated assault and arson. But he was telling a story. He was telling the police, "It was an accident. I was trying to light a cigarette and she accidentally caught fire. I love her. I tried to save her." He was playing the victim. He was trying to get a light sentence. He was looking at maybe 10 years in prison. Judy heard this, and a fire ignited inside her that was hotter than the gasoline. She realized, if I die now, he gets away with it. He gets away with calling it an accident. I cannot die until the world knows the truth. The prosecution had a problem. As long as Judy was alive, they couldn't charge Michael with murder. But everyone knew Judy was going to die. Her injuries were catastrophic. Her internal organs were failing. It was a slow-motion death. If they waited for her to die to charge him with murder, they would lose their key witness. But if they went to trial now, they could only get him for assault. So the prosecutor, Ron O'Brien, came up with a radical idea. An idea that had almost never been used in a case like this. He filed a motion for the perpetuation of testimony. He argued to the judge, "Judy Malinowski is a witness who is essentially dying. We need to record her testimony now under oath, with the defense attorneys present just like a courtroom trial. And we need to seal that video so that when she dies, and she will die, we can play it for the murder jury. It was a risky legal maneuver. The defense fought it. They said, "You can't cross-examine a videotape in the future." But the judge agreed. He realized that justice demanded Judy be heard. January 2017. The hospital room was turned into a courtroom. A judge came in, the prosecutor came in, Michael Slager's defense attorney came in, a videographer set up a camera. And there was Judy. She was weak, she was in agony, she was on heavy pain medication. But she told the doctors, "Lower the meds, I need to be clear, I need them to know I am sane." She lay there, bandaged, mutilated but dignified. The camera rolled. The prosecutor asked, "Judy, what happened that night?" Her voice was raspy, her throat was damaged, but her words were razor sharp. She described the argument. She described the look in his eyes. She described the gasoline. She said, "He looked at me and he poured it on me. He started at my head and went down." She described the lighter. He had an evil look in his eyes, he lit it, and he backed away. Then the defense attorney had to cross-examine her. Imagine the tension, trying to poke holes in the story of a dying woman. He asked her if she accidentally lit herself on fire. Judy looked at him, disbelief in her eyes, though she had no eyelids left. She said, "No, I didn't set myself on fire. Why would I do that? I love my kids. I wanted to live." She spoke for hours. She didn't waver. She didn't contradict herself. She was consistent. She destroyed the accident theory piece by piece. She explained that you don't accidentally pour gasoline on someone and then accidentally flick a lighter 6 feet away. She testified with the clarity of a woman who had already made peace with God, but was still fighting the devil. After the deposition, Judy's job was done. But she held on a little longer. She wanted to make sure the laws changed. She started advocating for tougher sentences for disfigurement. She became a symbol of strength for domestic violence survivors. Judy's law began to make its way through the Ohio legislature, a law that would add extra prison time for using an accelerant like gasoline in an attack. On June 27, 2017, almost 2 years after the attack, Judy Malinowski finally let go. She died in the hospital, surrounded by her family. She had survived 700 days. She survived long enough to ensure her voice was recorded forever. The moment she died, the charges against Michael Slager were upgraded. From aggravated assault to aggravated murder. The death penalty was on the table. Michael Slager realized he was trapped. He knew about the video. He knew that if a jury saw that video, if they saw Judy's injuries and heard her voice, they would sentence him to death without hesitation. The video was the ultimate weapon. It was a ghost pointing a finger. Slager's lawyers tried to get the video thrown out. They argued it was prejudicial. They argued it was too graphic. The judge refused. The jury needs to see what he did. Faced with the inevitable, Michael Slager folded. He pleaded guilty to aggravated murder. He pleaded guilty to avoid the death penalty. He accepted a sentence of ** life in prison, without the possibility of parole **. He accepted that he would die in a cage. But even though there was no trial, the prosecutor decided to release the tape. He released Judy's testimony to the public. He said, "The world needs to see what this woman did." When the video was released, it went viral. People wept when they saw it. It wasn't just the physical horror of her injuries, though that was shocking. It was her spirit. It was the way she said, "I want to be beautiful again. I want to be a mom again." Judy Malinowski proved that you can burn the body, you can burn the face, you can burn the skin, but you cannot burn the truth. She proved that the legal system, which for so long silenced victims, could be forced to listen. Because of her, Judy's law was passed in Ohio. It ensures that monsters who use fire as a weapon face maximum penalties. Because of her, domestic violence shelters received millions in donations. Because of her, countless women left abusive relationships before the spark could be lit. The story of Judy Malinowski is the ultimate victim's perspective. Usually, we have to guess what the victim felt. In this case, she told us. She told us about the pain. She told us about the fear. But she also told us about the love she had for her daughters. She described the moment she caught fire not as a moment of death, but as a moment of decision. She said she prayed to God in that fire. "God, please save me. Just let me live long enough to tell them." And he did. This story challenges us. It challenges our definition of strength. We think strength is lifting weights or running marathons. Judy Malinowski had no muscles left. She had no skin left. But she carried the weight of the entire justice system on her shoulders. She redefined what it means to be a witness. Michael Slager thought he could erase Judy. He thought fire destroyed evidence. He was wrong. Fire forged her into something permanent. Judy Malinowski is no longer with us, but her testimony is immortal. Every time a prosecutor fights for a victim, every time a woman stands up to an abuser, Judy's voice is there, echoing from that hospital bed, reminding us that the truth is fireproof. This story breaks my heart every time, but it also fills me with so much respect for her will to live. Do you think the legal system should allow more pre-recorded testimonies for victims in critical condition? It seems like the only way to ensure justice in cases like this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you are in awe of Judy Malinowski's bravery, please hit that **** button. Let's make sure her name is never forgotten. And subscribe ****. I have a story coming next week about a man who survived being swallowed by a whale. It sounds like a myth, but it really happened. Stay safe, love yourself, and never let anyone silence your truth.